It's time for Windows Weekly. Paul and I can hardly pay attention because, of course, tomorrow the Xbox One comes. Paul will give us his review. Then Mary Jo Foley shows up with her new Nokia Lumia 2520. All three of us will take a look. I'll install all the software on mine. It's all coming up next on Windows Weekly.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Windows Weekly is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is Windows Weekly with Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley, episode 338, recorded November 21st, 2013. 'Twas the night before Xbox. Windows Weekly is brought to you by Carbonite. Whether you have one computer at home or several at your small business, Carbonite backs up your files to the cloud automatically and continually. Plus, access your files anytime, anywhere with a free app. Start your free trial now at Carbonite.com. No credit card required. Just use the offer code WINDOWS and you get 2 bonus months with purchase. And by IT Pro TV. Are you looking to upgrade your IT skills or prepare for certification? IT Pro TV offers engaging and informative tutorials streamed to your Roku computer or mobile device for 50% off the lifetime of your account. Go to itpro.tv/WW and use the code WW50. And by Stamps.com. Start using your time more effectively with Stamps.com. Use Stamps.com to buy and print real U.S. postage the instant you need it right from your desk. For our special offer, go to Stamps.com now. Click on the radio microphone and enter Windows. It's time for Windows Weekly, the show that covers the latest from Microsoft, and the latest is... I feel it. It's palpable. It's on the tip of my tongue. Paul Thurrott is here. Mary Jo Foley is in an undisclosed location, but will return momentarily. So, Paul, you and me, we get to talk about the Xbox and the PlayStation before she gets here.
You don't understand the power of the dark side, Leo.
It's a shame we're doing this today because Xbox One comes tomorrow.
Yep.
But you have already played with the PS4, as have I.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking before the show, and I think we're in real agreement on this. But it's funny, as soon as we started saying this, and here's my immediate take, is that the PS4 isn't a very compelling upgrade. The biggest thing is much better controllers.
By the way, the controller is significantly better.
That's the big improvement.
It really is.
I know 10, and then, of course, immediately people in the chat, oh, but wait a minute, 1080p, blah, 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 blah. And, they looked pretty good before. And the thing is, it's incompatible. It's a break with the past with all previous PS games. So I'm going to stick with my PS3. I do not feel the urge.
Man, people are going to, I'm going to publish a review of this thing soon. And they're going to think I just wrote down everything you just said. Because
we're in agreement.
I touch on all of that stuff. And I think that with regards to backwards compatibility, both the Xbox One and the PS4 do not offer that feature. So this is not an advantage or disadvantage for either console, right?
No, right.
With the Xbox 360, they had kind of limited Xbox compatibility in the beginning. They improved it over time, but that was something Sony did pretty well. It's out of the picture. If you're a PlayStation guy for years and years, you may go from controller to controller and think, it's different, whatever. But coming at the PlayStation, from my perspective, from the 360 owner, and also someone who has like humongous gorilla hands, the PS4 controller is significantly better than the previous PlayStation controllers.
Much better.
I really like this controller. The triggers are actual triggers now. The little sticks have like kind of stick 'em on them, so they actually they're nice, and it's the right size. And I like the click pad thing they have. It actually works pretty well. I was saying to you before the show, and I'll just say to the benefit of people listening, it struck me today playing around with this thing that growing up as I did in the 1970s with the Magnavox Odyssey and early Atari and television and all those early systems, the basics have never changed. And I feel like we're on the edge of the end of that era for video games, that this thing is a box that sits on your floor that connects to your TV that has storage in it and a microprocessor. And you have a hand controller in your hand and you interact with stuff on the screen. And obviously, there are a few things that have changed, like voice control and Kinect and all that kind of stuff. But the basics have not. And I feel like in many ways, these things are kind of old-fashioned. They're just like they've always been. And in this generation, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One are PCs. So basically what this thing is a quiet, it's a quiet computer that you put in your living room. So,
but what I'm excited about, and again, it's kind of unfair because I've seen the PS4 and I have it in the Xbox One. I won't see it till tomorrow. So, and people are going to say, oh, they probably won't say this about me, but they'll say, oh, Paul, well, of course you have a vested interest in Microsoft, so you're going to pro.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but right over my head, I can see the Delphi 3 Super Bible on the bookshelf.
We've moved it so that it's actually hanging like a sword of Damocles.
Look how big that book is.
Over your head. And if it should fall, if you should say anything I don't like, I'm going to pull out this little tab right here.
No one bought it, but if they had and had fallen asleep reading it, they would have killed themselves.
It's funny. You noticed that right away. That's so funny.
Somehow I just...
Well, and I think that unless you really knew that book, you wouldn't know that that's what it is hanging over your head. But I do see the word Delphi pretty clear. So, but having said that, I don't have an axe to grind. I have both a PlayStation 3 and an Xbox 360. I had the original Xbox. I had the PS2. I like both, and I use both frequently. However, and again, tomorrow, maybe I'll change my mind. But I have to say, I'm pretty excited about the pass-through capability of the Xbox One. I feel like the overlays on top of live TV are going to be very interesting.
I think so.
Admittedly, and this is, I think, the result of Sony emphasizing games and Microsoft emphasizing games plus media, everything.
It's like Microsoft emphasizing everything.
They have more to tell, the better story to tell right now when the games are sparse.
The whole thing is sparse on the PS4. I mean, it's a very clean UI, but there's not a lot going on there. You kind of click through 5 tiles and you're done, and you're like, where is everything? I mean, there aren't a lot of games yet, and it doesn't have backwards compatibility. And there aren't a lot of media services going on. You get the big ones, Netflix, Hulu Plus, Amazon, and so forth. There are no third-party music services. There's no, Pandora. There's no Spotify. There's no, anything. I mean, it's very sparse. On the other hand, I guess as a gamer, if I were a pure gamer and that's all I cared about, I mean, there's a certain, I don't know, elegance to it. I mean, there's a certain single-mindedness to it, right? It's very much focused on games, and I think certain people do care about that stuff. But
it's probably honestly, the hardcore gamers who are saying, but it's obviously so much better.
Yeah.
And it's true.
We'll see.
In 3 years, or 2 years, or 1 year, when there's lots of games, it may be the preferable gaming platform. May very well be.
Oh, I can't wait to let those 2 or 3 years play out and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a fair statement. And every time I make a comment about this particular game, people kind of roll their eyes because it's cross-platform and last-gen graphics and all that stuff. But playing Call of Duty Ghosts on the PlayStation 4, the one thing I have to say on the negative, which goes completely against the grain of the point of this thing, is it has slowed down in ways that I find crazy. And when I play Ghosts or any previous Call of Duty game on Xbox 360, it never does it, ever. And it's happened multiple times now on the PS4, and I don't know what to blame. I don't know if it's some combination of the game maker and the type of engine they're using, and it's not optimized for the system or whatever it is. But it kind of starts to lag, and you come to a crawl, and it's done that to me repeatedly now, and I'm kind of surprised by that. But
well, yeah. So there's that, but I also I feel like that the features of the Xbox One, especially as they play out over the next few months as more features are added, but even the features that out of the box remind me
Mary Jo is here.
Oh shoot, we're gonna have to stop. The grown-ups got here.
Well, no, we can complete the thought. But
remind me of what everybody was saying the Apple television set would do. That you can say play Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it will know where that is. It will know what to do. It will get it for me.
I was trying to talk to my PlayStation today and it never responded.
Well, we'll see how well this works. Again, I'm basing this totally on early reviews from Polygon and others, but it sounds as if
I've been trying not to read reviews. I want to. Yeah. I like to go into these things clean.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. I shouldn't, but I'm actually, and we were talking before and last week about how much burnout, there is now with all this stuff coming out every minute and so much stuff to review. But I'm genuinely excited about the Xbox One.
Wow.
And tomorrow I'm going to be waiting on the doorstep like a little puppy for the UPS guy.
It's funny. So the one thing that the PS4 and the Xbox One, I believe, have in common that is a big deal is they multitask, right? And so one of the coolest things about the PS4 is you can be in the middle of an online multiplayer game and you hit the PlayStation button and you're instantly on the home screen and you can go do something else and then you can come back and you're back in the game. And I know that's on the 360 on the Xbox One. Microsoft has demonstrated it. I think that is the one profound change that's common to these two consoles, right? That they are the first consoles basically that do real multitasking, right? There are limits to it. I mean, in some cases, you'll go to start a new experience and it will say, hey, we need to shut down this other app. And okay, that's fine. Maybe it only does two big things at once or whatever it is. But, on the 360, the experience of doing that kind of thing is so miserable. The process of shutting down an app, waiting for it to shut down, going to waiting for the dashboard to load.
Yeah.
Loading the next app. It's like this constant, like it's just, you can hear the thing grinding away. It's awful. And on the PlayStation 4, that kind of transition is instantaneous.
That's nice.
That stuff is nice. And I know the Xbox is going to get that right.
Yeah, and that's why Microsoft... Oh! Mary Jo's here. Shh.
You look like you're in an elevator.
I am. I'm in an elevator.
It's a Microsoft...
Third floor.
Or an AT&T orange elevator. That's an interesting color I'm looking at right here. Hello, Mary Jo.
Hello.
Forget we were... Hi, Ms. Foley. Paul and I were just hanging out waiting for you.
Talking about some games, I heard.
Oh, Miss Foley has eyes in the back of her head.
I do.
Mary Jo Foley is here, all about Microsoft.com. She's at an undisclosed... Can we say where you are? Or?
No, I can't.
Undisclosed location.
Yes.
Seems like I see a whiteboard... I don't know what it could be. Anyway, let's not. We won't look too hard. But that orange just looks like a familiar kind of.
It does have that kind of look to it.
Anyway, okay. So, should we continue on, or as if Mary Jo is not here, or have we said?
Well, let me just complete the thought on the video game stuff because I think, and I don't have one yet, right? But I'm just based on what Microsoft has shown. I think where the Xbox One takes it to the next level is in a couple of areas. It's the entertainment stuff, like you were saying, but it's also the ability to do two things at one time on the screen. The ability to snap two things side by side. You could literally be playing a video game on the left, driving, down the road or whatever you do, and having a Skype session on the right. Watching a movie or TV show on the left and browsing the web on the right because you want to learn more about that TV show or whatever it is. That kind of ability could be potentially a big deal. I mean,
I'm excited.
Again, I haven't seen it. But.
The idea of watching a football game while your fantasy roster is updated in real time on a snapped screen is very intriguing to me. The ability, in fact, to say snap TV and have it snap over. I mean, I just, again, we haven't seen it. We haven't played with it. I'm intrigued, and I think these are expensive, $400 and $500.
And they're not insignificant.
Not insignificant. But that, I remember, was part of what happened in the early days last generation. It was very expensive, and then it got less expensive. Games are in short supply. Again, that's not unusual. Exclusives are not particularly exciting. That's not unusual either. Well, actually, that is unusual, but no Halo, no...
So I was, I complained about that the other day. It's weird to me, the 360, the PS3, and now the Xbox One and the PS4 have all launched without any, and actually I think the Wii U did as well, without any major tier one, franchise games from those game makers. That actually might be on purpose if you think about it. They may, in order to drag out the sales, they may purposely launch that big A title next year.
Right.
To give you that seasonal bump or whatever. But it is kind of strange,
I also think this is, for Microsoft, a chance to show off smart screens, to show off second screen, and what it could possibly do. And the notion that perhaps my device, whether it's a Surface tablet or an iPad or an Android device, could control the whole system, could be used to interact with what's going on. I mean, there's a lot.
Microsoft loves the term panes of glass.
There's a lot of promise.
loves that term.
We used to call them windows, but I guess we can't.
No, they don't call them that.
Anyway, you know what? You and I, we should do a special.
Yeah.
Maybe next week before Windows Weekly, just like talking about Xbox One, because I really would like to spend some time talking about it with you. But I just don't want to. Mary Jo is just, there's not enough beer in the world to make her put up with that. So
I could just pretend we're talking about Hadoop.
No, I know you. I know you're involved in this. You don't game or anything, but this is
No, but I'll tell you. As I've said before, what I'm really interested in about Xbox One is the operating system. I'm super interested in that
because it's RT, the old RT. The
Windows NT
runtime.
Core.
Right.
And also, Dave Cutler's the guy who built it, which is pretty amazing, right? And it's got Hyper-V in it. I mean, there's lots of things to love.
Yep.
I feel like this is what the Xbox was always supposed to be, which is a stealth entry into the living room for the entire Microsoft ecosystem. And very intriguing. Now, we're going to do a teardown of it. iFixit's already posted theirs on the iFixit site.
It's good that you mentioned that because a lot of people have asked me, why is the Xbox One so huge, compared to the PlayStation 4? And why is there an external power brick when the PS4 does the internal thing? And I not without knowing the actual answer to that, it turns out I'm correct, which is that they didn't get cooling right on the 360,
right? And
they're going to get it right on this one. And you've seen the fan. I think it's like the size of my head, and so that thing's going to be kept cool. And I think that's what they wanted to accomplish.
Yeah, and we tore down the PS4 last Sunday. We will tear down with iFixit. We will tear down the Xbox One this Sunday in between the radio show and Twit. And one of the things you see immediately on the PS4 is how much they pay attention to cooling on the PS4 as well.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why there's a picture of toilet paper before. There's
because it's exciting.
It's exciting. By the way, they gave it a very high repairability score, 8 out of 10, which is the same as the PS4. Both of these consoles are easy to get into and easy to fix. But we'll do the full teardown live on the air.
It's funny,
Sunday.
the original Xbox had probably, I don't remember exactly, but it was probably a 5,400 RPM, hard drive, like 160, whatever there was. It was a long time ago, but what's the drive? Is that an actual drive or that must be an SSD in the Xbox? In the Xbox
there's
one.
a drive.
So,
let's see.
Samsung.
It's not a replaceable hard drive.
It is a 5,400.
It's a SATA 2.5-inch SATA 4 drive.
That's hilarious.
5,400 RPM, 500 gigs. Very similar to the PS4, although the PS4's is easily upgradable.
Yeah.
Not so
Microsoft
much.
used to do that. With the 360, they made it very easy to do that. And a lot of people have been wondering about this one because it's on the inside.
Right. Less so. By the way, if it is a battle of the fans, Microsoft definitely wins.
I know. That thing's awesome.
That thing is huge. It's huge. Okay. And by the way, that's good because a big fan can rotate slower and is much quieter than a little fan. So a single big fan was the choice both Sony and Microsoft made. But Microsoft wins because of the big fan. Really big fan.
That is funny.
All right, let's. One more related issue. I got to show this. South Park. Mary Jo? I'm sure you're a big South Park fan, right?
Have
you watched this yet, Leo?
I haven't. This will be the first.
All right, so this is slightly not suitable for work. So I just wanted to warn people. It's not that it's vulgar, but there's some violence.
All right, and we will, so we've warned everybody, so that's fair. Here you go. This was last night on South Park.
No, listen, for the last time, we don't have any dragons to send them. If some people want to choose PlayStations, it's their choice.
Sir, Mr. Gates is here.
Bill Gates? I gotta go.
Bomber sitting at the reception desk.
Hey, Bill Gates actually showing up at corporate.
Hey, Steve, how you doing?
Not bad, just trying to get this next-gen press stuff handled.
I heard there's a little trouble in Colorado somewhere?
Oh, it turns out it was nothing. Just some kids trying to turn the console wars into something bigger.
Oh, my gosh. When I stepped down and left you in charge of the company, Steve, I knew there might be some challenges for you.
Yeah, well, nothing I can't handle. There might be some changes we need to make to our marketing, but I'm optimistic.
Hey, some
I think we'll
creepy
ultimately
hitman's
sell the
coming
number
up
of units we
behind
want to.
You're right,
Steve.
Steve. Some changes do need to be made.
Oh! He stabs Palmer in the heart. Yeah, that's pretty gory. It is cartoon violence, though.
Do you know what weakness is, Steve? Weakness is believing that competition is healthy. See, there was a time when Xboxes and PlayStations could both survive in this world, but that time's done. It's all headed to one device that people game on, watch TV on, socialize on. There's only going to be one winner. I can't have you idiots throwing away everything I worked so hard to achieve.
In typical typical over the top fashion, Bill Gates hires a hitman to deal with Palmer.
When that for the South Park movie came out years and years ago,
Oh man,
there's a scene where they're doing a presentation and it crashes, and the general says, "Bring in Bill Gates." And he says, "You said Windows 98 was going to be more reliable and faster." And he says, "Well, we had over 150 improvements, and then he blows them away. I was laughing so hard I missed like the next 10 minutes of the movie. It just did perfect Bill Gates. Like Windows 98 has over 150, whatever. It was so beautiful.
we're going to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to open this box and we're going to get your impressions of the other RT tablet. There are but two.
The other box this week.
The other one. But first, a word from our good friends at Carbonite. The holiday season is upon us, and Carbonite reminds you that the worst Grinch would be the one that takes all your data on Christmas Eve. And not just at home. Think about your small business. Do you back up your computer files at home and at your business as often as you ought to? It's kind of easy to forget. And if you've assigned little Timmy, the office clerk, to do the backup, it can pretty much be guarantee Timmy ain't going to do it the week your hard drive dies. That's going to be, oh, I forgot. With Carbonite, you don't have to think about it. All your computers, all your servers, all your external hard drives are backed up not only automatically, but continually whenever you're online. So every change is backed up. There is versioning. Plus, you can access those backed up files wherever you go, so it's cloud storage. That means you can use the Carbonite app or just log onto your Carbonite account. The app's free. Log on any computer. There's your stuff. Download your files. You can even email them. And Carbonite has some very affordable flat rate plans in every case. As it starts at $59.99 a year, less than $5 a month for a single Mac or PC. But they have plans for every possible use. No matter how many computers you have, no matter where they're located. I want you to try it free. Carbonite.com. No credit card required. Please, let's keep the Grinch at bay this holiday season. Use the offer code WINDOWS. You'll get 2 free bonus months if you decide to buy. True free trial. You don't even need to give them a credit card. Carbonite.com. Offer code WINDOWS. Try it today. So you, Paul, and you, Mary Jo, have both got the 2520, but I just got handed mine.
Oh, nice. Now,
this is a review unit from AT&T. Thank you, AT&T. I'm probably going to buy it. Well, if everybody agrees, it's the one to get. I've played with the Surface 2.
Is the AT&T one black, or do they have color choices? I don't even know.
I think theirs is black only.
It's black. Or at least this one is.
Okay.
Of course, it's an AT&T package. I mean, it has AT&T everywhere.
The AT&T package. Seriously, I have seen. I mean, they're so shoddy.
Yeah.
They're just so shoddy.
But on the other hand, the Apple thing where everything is tight and it feels like it's almost airtight and all that. You take it apart and that's it. I don't know. There's the power brick is a small dongle. It is again proprietary little mini dibbity diboo. It comes with the SIM puller.
By the way, one thing you should show is use that SIM key or whatever you call that, and pop the SIM tray because it's a double tray.
Ah, that's for Europe or just because?
No, it's not. It's not 2 SIMs. It's micro SD and SIM in one tray.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I've never seen it like that before.
No. Well, let's see here. I'm going to take this. First I have to unwrap the.
Take it out of its protective sheath.
Jeez,
Paul,
Louise.
you got a Verizon one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, and I mean, it really, as far as I could tell, the only difference is you just pick the carrier that works best where you are, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
Although
but I'm
Verizon
wondering about
comes
the
in
color
red.
choices.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. See,
I really
one
like
of the
the
things
red.
I like about the Nokia is that it is sexier, right? So you can have other colors.
Would you describe that as a matte black or a glossy?
No, it's matte.
It's matte. Okay.
It's
Ours
matte.
Because
Although-
the red one is very glossy.
yeah, it feels like it's poured out of a candy machine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is semi-gloss.
Okay.
Interesting because they put a little sticker where the NFC is, but I guess you could peel that off.
Is that really a stick? That's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good to know because there's a lot of real estate, and the NFC has to be really pretty close to the
Oh,
chip.
it's a sticker on this one, too. That's funny.
Yeah,
I didn't
know where it is probably a good idea. All right, so where is the SIM slot? Here's the volume and power buttons. Here, it looks like there's 2 headphone jacks. Is that so I can have 2 people?
One's power.
Yeah, one is power.
One's a power
Power
button.
and-
Oh, one's a. I'm sorry. What?
The
The
power.
charger cable goes in there.
Oh, that's going to be confusing.
Yep.
Yep.
I already
They-
put it in the wrong one.
They look exactly the same,
Yep.
and it fits in both, which is nice. That's a convenience. All right.
It falls out of one of them.
Yeah,
though.
run it. Yeah, you'll know you have the wrong one when it falls out later that night.
Yeah.
You really got to jam that thing in, though,
It is.
because
You
I
do.
had mine plugged in
Yeah.
for a while, and I did. It's funny because the green light comes on, so you think, oh, it must be charging.
Oh, and
But
it's not.
It's not actually plugged into the device.
Here's a connector for the keyboard, which you can't get because they don't have it yet.
Yeah, that's a downer. It's really hard to review this thing without a keyboard.
Right. So where is? Oh, here it is. Okay. So here it is a big SIM drawer.
I've never seen such a thing.
A big SIM drawer here. I'll pull it out, and there's a SIM in there, and that's where I would put the little micro SD next to it. Huh? All right.
So it's a regular micro. What do you call that? A micro SIM?
That's a micro SIM, not a nano SIM.
Not a nano SIM.
You could tell if there's any nano SIM is all contact. There's no paper on it, and the micro SIM has a little bit of paper left. All right, so there you go, and I guess I'll power it up, right? See what happens here. See if it comes with power. Now, this is a review unit, so who knows? I mean, it could be that John C. Dvorak had it for a month and didn't charge it. So
Does it smell like straw?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's that looks like micro HDMI, right? And then
Okay, so this is another weird aspect to this. If you've ever had a USB 3 hard drive, you've seen those.
I
that
recognize
weird.
that. Yeah,
That's the cable type.
okay.
I have never seen that on a device before, and I don't even know how you would connect anything to
Well,
this.
it's a master-slave thing with USB, so this would nominally be connected to the drive, not to the computer.
Right. I've never seen that on a like this before,
It
so I don't
doesn't
know.
come with a specialized cable.
Nope, doesn't come with a converter, which is crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, that's a real.
So it's a new kind. They're saying DD Reaper in the chat room says it's the new micro USB 3.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, micro USB 3.
The thing is, like, those cables pretty much don't exist. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you could go to Amazon and buy a.
Well, I think you could put a regular. Yeah, you can. You can put a regular micro USB, traditional
You
micro
can?
USB in here. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Galaxy Note came that way too.
Show me how to
Jam it
show
in
me.
the right way, though, as usual.
Jam it in.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, that would help a lot.
that goes in
Okay.
the big one, the big side. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
So yeah, I do recognize this now from the Note. The Galaxy Note 3 has this same odd.
So you're saying,
So what you're saying is it's a dual connector.
okay, that makes this a lot more palatable.
Yeah, I agree. So we're powering up. There's the Nokia thing. It doesn't. Somebody's saying it doesn't look as elegant as the Surface 2. I think
it does.
more elegant because of the rounded edges. The Surface always felt a little industrial to me because of the squareness of its design.
Yeah, exactly.
This
This
is
one, it's
more of a
funny. It's not a
consumer.
heck of a lot lighter. It's supposedly not any thinner, but it's tapered at the edges,
Right.
and it just feels thinner and lighter when you hold it.
Yeah, there's a better hand feel
You
to
know?
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
All right. Well, I'm going to power it up, but you guys both have had it for a little longer.
So it's good and bad, you know. There's no kickstand.
Oh, see, I like the kickstand. Well, how am I going to use
I know, I like
keyboard
having
if
it. You miss it. You know, it's when you get that on, like, no, most devices don't come with a kickstand, right? Most devices you buy some kind of a case and it adds that kind of capability.
Right.
But once you've used something like that, it's like NFC or wireless charging, actually, more to the point. It's hard not to have it, you know?
Right.
It's weird that this doesn't have some sort of integrated stand.
I'll tell you where this, the screen, it's the same, both of them are 1080p now, right? Is that right?
Surface 2 is 1080p. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's just read this real quickly.
Yeah, please read through.
Okay, that's good. All right, I agree.
My daughter ripped on me for not reading one of those the other day.
She reads them, huh?
I was going through it, and she said, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean? She said, you didn't read that. I'm like, yeah, I did.
Really? Is your daughter one of those, like, I got to follow all the rules type people?
No, she just likes showing up, Dad.
2520. Okay. Next. Oh, I didn't pick a color. Oh, well, I can go back and do that. Mobile broadband, AT&T, HSPA. We should have LTE here. This is LTE compatible, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So while I'm doing the sign up, what else? There's one, no kickstand. So it's really a tablet.
Yeah. Once we have the keyboard, you can use that to hold it up as if it were a kickstand, right?
Oh, so the keyboard has the kickstand.
Right. It's like the way it. Well, I haven't actually held one, but from pictures I've seen, it looks like it holds it up like it's a kickstand. And, the front part of their keyboard is floppy where the touchpad is. It's so that the keyboard wraps around.
Very strange.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, but the way you can fold it up, it stands upright as if there were a kickstand. So, yeah, I agree with Paul. Like, it's hard once you're holding this thing and it's like, okay, I can't prop it up.
It's so shiny and smooth. And
it's very slippery, actually. Yeah. Without
if you go to Amazon.com and search for Amazon Basics, they sell a bunch of cables and other kinds of junk like that. And one of the things they sell is a tablet stand, and it's nice for traveling. It's probably $6 or something, but that's what I use for this and for some other devices too. It's so hard not having something.
It is.
So should I use Express settings or?
Yeah, why not?
Whoever says customize. And everything can be customized.
Well, I mean, I document this kind of stuff, and I would have chosen every default.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't leave it as Bing, but
no one does.
Right, but other than that, everything else looks okay. Right.
Yep.
Turn on Do Not Track in Internet Explorer. This was the controversial setting that we've seen in Windows 8.1 as well. All right, I'll use Express settings.
I just noticed last night you can turn on Do Not Track in Safari on an iPad.
Yeah, in fact, I think it's on by default, which was even more controversial.
Yeah, I just noticed it was there. I didn't realize they had that.
Well, and because Microsoft had this Express setting default, I think Apache at least said we're going to ignore Do Not Track requests from Internet Explorer.
It's just nice to see these companies working together.
I don't know what the latest is on that.
It's like watching Yahoo and Microsoft and Google work together on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? Yeah. Now, can I use? I had this problem with the Nokia, the Lumia 1520. I tried to log in with my Outlook.com account as my main account.
Oh, I can tell you why.
Well, I know what happened because later I went home and I got 18 messages from Microsoft.
Yeah,
saying,
so on this device,
password.
it should just, in other words, do you have dual factor authentication on?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this one should actually throw up a code box afterwards. It should just work.
That's the right way to do it. Microsoft does not, or the Lumia 1520 does not do it that way. I had to use a temporary password that was
an app password. Yeah.
And it never told me that. It just didn't work.
You know what? Are you sure it doesn't tell you that? Because I think it does now.
Your password. That's not your password. Okay. That's not your password. And then I went home, and my phone of record with Outlook had 5 messages or whatever saying, "Here's your password. Here's your password." No.
So, I guess the general advice to people about that is obviously you should turn that stuff on if you can do dual whatever, like a 2-step authentication, whatever, you should. If you are positive you put the password in wrong, then try an app password. That's the
I think that's exactly right. And it was texting me one which is a nice feature.
I find the need to do that has gone down significantly. And I could have sworn I thought it was the 1520 where it actually said.
Okay, I might have. You might be right. I might have.
No,
screwed
I could be
up.
wrong too.
No, I
don't
might have
remember.
screwed it up because I did, and this is what I thought I did wrong. I didn't. I skipped the giving it the account up front to get it set up.
Okay.
And
I'm talking. This would have been during setup.
Yeah,
because there's a couple things. The Windows Phone setup has actually changed recently. So they do the Wi-Fi setup now before you do your account, because before, if you didn't have a SIM card and it wasn't connected, you couldn't connect with your. So they fixed that, and I could be wrong because again, unfortunately, I've installed like 24 different devices this week, but I think it was the 1520, which also has further updates on it, where it actually did say if you've set up an an app password, not an ASP word,
Whoops.
Ooh, hello.
That you may need to enter that here. I think it was that device, but I could be wrong about that.
Your app word is wrong.
And please, I'm pregging you, please do not use that as the title of this episode.
Exactly.
I think we've already used.
I can already see
something.
Someone's
similar,
already typing it in somewhere.
So I don't think we will this time. No.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, give us. Okay, continue on with your review, if you will.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Paul, or do you want me to?
Not really. I figured I did like 15 minutes of Xbox One right at the beginning.
All right. So I got my loaner device last Friday. I went over and picked it up from the Nokia folks, and I really like this tablet. But I don't feel like I can give it a thorough review without the keyboard. And they, I guess, have had trouble getting these keyboards in place. It was really interesting to me that I didn't know how much I've come to look for a keyboard on my tablet until this. I'm so used to using the keyboard on my Surface now that I just assume, like, where's the keyboard? And yeah, you can type on the glass. Of course you can. But for this kind of a device, the way I use it is as a companion device to my PC. So I do a lot of things like, write stories on it and input things into the CMS. And without a keyboard, that's pretty hard on this tablet. So I haven't been using it as much, even though I like the initial feel and the initial look of it. I haven't been using it as much because it doesn't have the keyboard, and we don't right now have an ETA on when they're going to loan us the keyboard. I don't know what the holdup is.
So can you buy it, or is it in short supply?
I don't think it's there.
It's not.
I don't
doesn't
think
exist.
it is either.
I've been looking for it online. I don't see it.
No.
And I've asked Nokia. I've never heard a reply, but I don't think it's done. Like out. I just don't think it's there.
Although I was reading Engadget's review of this device last night, and they have the keyboard somehow.
You sure they have it?
I think the reviewer said she didn't like the keyboard because she felt it was very crowded and it was hard to type on it, and that the keys were very flat. So I assume either she's done some testing with that keyboard or she's got it.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised. If anyone has this, I bet it's a prototype or like a pre-release version, because it just doesn't, I don't think it's there. I just don't think it's done.
Yeah. I mean, it's available today
bad.
in Verizon, right? This tablet's out on Verizon today. So I don't know if you go to a Verizon store, if you can get one in the store. I haven't tried that, but.
Right.
Yeah, so I felt like my review was very hampered by not having the keyboard. I did like the speed on the Verizon LTE. I thought that was really good, and I really liked having LTE in this device. I was kind of somebody who poo-pooed the need to have built-in LTE on the Surface.
Yeah, because you never go out, so what the hell?
Right, I never go out.
Yeah.
I'm always at home. But this week I've been out a lot on the road in places where there was no Wi-Fi, and it was really awesome to have it.
Where would you say those places were, Mary Jo, roughly speaking?
Undisclosed locations. Well, no. One location I was this week with this was Orlando, actually, because I spoke at VS Live, the VS Live show in Orlando this week. And I was really happy to have the LTE built in because there was no Wi-Fi working at one point at that conference. So it was awesome to have that. And I forgot how handy that really is. And I remember Microsoft said they had a lot of telemetry data indicating that people who were buying iPads and other tablets, even if they had LTE built in, they never used it. But I think I've used mine quite a bit this week.
Hey, it does, just stepping back on that keyboard thing, it does, I mean, this is a Windows RT. It's supposed to succeed as a tablet. Does it say something that you can't really review it without a keyboard? I mean, doesn't that say something about it?
I think it says something about me more than the device. Because
not just you, right? I mean,
to be fair, many.
Yeah, I mean, I also find it very difficult to use for the same reason. I mean, I also have come to expect that. I mean, it's weird. The trade-offs between the Surface 2 and the Nokia device are interesting because in some parts I really like the Surface stuff, and in some parts I really like the Nokia stuff. But a keyboard that just clicks on, and then having a kickstand with that,
to have the choice.
It's
and the lack
really
of a kickstand, especially on something this big and heavy, because you compare it.
Yeah, what do you do with that thing?
Yeah, you compare it to an iPad Air.
If you're going to watch a movie on a plane, even, you have to hold it.
Right.
You can't. That thing, it's like
heavy.
A giant bar of soap.
It's really heavy, and it is heavier than the Air, probably half a pound heavier.
Is it really?
It feels like
actually, it's almost. Yeah, it's
the Air's 1 pound.
I think the Nokia is 1.37-ish. Something.
It's funny how that different, what a difference that makes. And then, but I mean, and I guess you could rest it on something. But because of its rounded edge, it's not. It kind of doesn't.
No, it's the type of thing you're holding it. It slides right out of your hand because it's it's so. Well, at least the one I have is so glossy. I mean, it's.
Now I chose to set it up using the Windows Pro PC I had. Is that okay? Even though it's RT, is that going to confuse it? I use the Acer S7.
Well, what that's going to do is it's going to, depending on what option you may or may not have clicked, it's going to install
just the
shortcuts to apps that you've had on that other PC
that are compatible.
It's going to use the color scheme on the start screen. There's an option, I think, to do the exact layout of the.
Yeah, I think I just said use the S7 as the setup, but even though that's a different version of Windows, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay. Tell me it's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be great.
Yeah, I figured it's going to be okay.
I think the other reason I'm thinking about the keyboard more, because this device also comes with all the Office apps, like it comes with Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, and Outlook. I kind of expect the keyboard because
that's a point to be made, because this is lighter than the old iPad. It's 16.9, which it's funny. Maybe it's just an iPad bigot. It just all the 16. No, it's weird.
No, I like it in landscape. You can't use a device like that in portrait. It looks weird.
Yeah, it's too tall. And then you're right. I don't know how you would use this without a stand.
It's like a Michelin guide.
How you would use desktop at all without a stand and a keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the keyboard exists, obviously. But you can't buy it. It means it's, you know.
I mean, you could, like I said, you could use a stand. You could attach a Bluetooth keyboard. That's fine. But then you're getting into this contraption thing. Like now you've created this weird little bag full of junk. You kind of empty your bag out, set up all your stuff. And I don't know, the beauty of a laptop, if you're going to use it for work, is it's one thing. And
You know what I have noticed, though, is that Paul was talking about differences between the Surface and this tablet. So I'm still using my Surface RT, first generation, right? And I'm getting right now, about 7 hours of battery on that. This, I think I've only charged twice in the past week, this Nokia tablet. So I think I haven't done a formal battery test, but I feel like I'm getting a lot more battery life on this.
That's really good.
Yep.
The other thing, at the request of some readers, I did some performance tests on this thing, compared it to Surface 2. I don't like to do strict tests, but there's been a lot of talk about whether the Qualcomm chipset that's in this would be faster than the Tegra that you have in the Surface 2. And, it's never a one-to-one, but just on like a 3D Mark test. It's funny because they have 3 levels of tests. The Surface 2 will do the middle one, and it will run through the test. This one says, this computer is way too impressive to do this test. You need to do the other test. And so when you do the high-end test on both, the Nokia device is about 20% faster than the Microsoft.
That's, the rule of thumb I always use is anything more than 5% is noticeable. Anything less than 5%, it's no human's going to notice it.
It's not 5%. Yeah,
20% is a lot.
Depends on the test.
That's not an insignificant difference.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I was going to say faster in terms of what, like opening
Right.
apps.
Well,
and,
synthetic benchmarks. That's
No,
the
it's
problem.
it's like a graphics test.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it's basically graphics performance.
graphics only then. All right.
And I don't know. See, what I haven't tested. Well, I did some informal app launching type stuff. Those, honestly, it's pretty similar right there. I don't really notice much of a difference. You can boot the two devices
same
up.
SSD.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. And that, by the way, I hope I mentioned that when I wrote about this. But if I didn't, that too could have as much of an effect on performance as the
Much
graphics.
more so yeah, but if it's MLC, Flash, and both, it's not going
Like
to be
EMC or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So, I think ultimately what's going to happen is these things are basically comparable. You
just choose it based on looks.
Well, and available. This one has
Keyboard
LTE,
availability.
right? You can buy a subsidized version of this through AT&T or Verizon,
That's right.
and you can't do that with a service.
Right.
Till
And for
next
some
year.
people- yeah, well, right now, I mean,
Right.
but
So if you
for
want a
some people,
kickstand, you want a keyboard, then you're going to get a Surface. You want LTE, you're going to get
It's
a
distinct
Lumia.
because there are so many trade-offs, and
I know.
there's a perfect device in the middle of these two things. And
Right.
right now you have to kind of choose based on what you need more.
Right.
Well, and the big question next year, so Microsoft's going to add LTE support to a model of the Surface 2 next year. We already know that. So then Microsoft buys Nokia. Then do they
Correct.
keep both of these
Oh,
ARM
boy.
tablets?
Oh,
Like,
boy.
are they too similar, dissimilar, right?
Yeah.
Can't
What are they going to
imagine
do?
would keep. Yeah, they really can't and shouldn't do that.
Really? Why not?
They're too similar. I think the better approach would be to combine the best of both. Imagine a Surface 2 that had color choices, right? But you also had that kickstand and the click-in keyboards and all that stuff, and a real USB port. And
I have to say, they got set up down right. I mean, here we are. 20 minutes after I opened it, and I have now essentially all my apps are installed.
Well, so they're not actually installed, right? But they're there. So if you notice, a lot of those tiles.
it says download. Yeah, it has a little download thing.
It will download in place the first time you tap on it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So you can get those things installed. It's a simple.
But
simple
that's good
process.
because what they're saying is, hey, look, if you want this is what you had.
Yep. Well, that's what you did. You did a restore.
I did a restore. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why those are there.
Yeah. But my calendar's there. My
I assume
desktop wallpaper.
That's your backdrop.
Yeah, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Now, without a keyboard, how do I get to the desktop?
So if the desktop tile is not there on the top, you can swipe up to go to apps. Well, not from the very bottom, but just from the middle of the screen. Yeah.
And then
And
do
it'll-
desktop.
Yep.
I should put this. I don't know if it's there, but I should put it there. So there's the desktop, and then
And you're hiding your taskbar.
yeah. So I should stop that right away.
Well, no, it's fine. I'm just saying it took that setting as well.
Yeah,
That's
it
kind
did.
of
How do I get it back?
Never going to get that back with your finger.
It made a lot of
So-
it made a lot of sense on a desktop computer with a keyboard, but it doesn't make any sense on a tablet, obviously. So probably the control panel or personalization or something.
No,
That's wrong. Oh, I don't. I always do this, and people yell at me. Leo, do not use Windows Weekly for your own petty little interest. This is a show for us who actually understand.
I think this is actually really instructive because this is what people do.
Right. I love it that my account's there, though. I really do. I think that's great. I can download all my little utilities. So that
good
means
on
the
your
settings aren't here, so I'll have to redo the settings, right? And the truth is, why would you go to the desktop? You just launch Word from Tile World.
Right. Tile World. Don't use that mark.
That's David. That's David.
No, David
Pogue's,
I was at a Nokia developer event over the weekend, and the guy next to me spent the entire, I think, 6 hours I was there trying to get a virtual environment running on the Mac that would run Visual Studio and enable him to do the Hyper-V based machine you have to do to make this work. So anyway, the whole time he's sitting next to me trying to get this thing going, and he kept referring to the Metro stuff as Tile World. And it took everything I had. He was a nice guy.
You wanted to
and I didn't wanna
punch him,
kill
though, didn't you? Yeah.
God, I wanted to strangle him.
Yeah.
It was like Tile World, really?
Well, that's Pogue's.
Tile World.
Pogue's
Yeah.
really disgusting
Well,
appellation.
but here's the thing.
It's Microsoft's fault for giving us nothing to call it.
It needs a name.
True.
And when you
Modern
don't give
UI
something
is
a name,
not a
this
name.
happens. People just give their own
Yeah.
names.
Yep.
People
and
who hate
and that
Microsoft
really is
give
where
it
the anger was directed, by the way. Not at David Pogue, but at the fact that this is Windows, and they don't have a name for it.
Right.
It's
I
so
know.
crazy.
Yep.
So the other thing I'm a little disappointed is that I now have to sign into Office. Should be the same credentials that I used. It is the same credentials that I used, but I still have to do it by hand from Office.
Yes.
It should pick that up, frankly.
Because it's a desktop. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't have a keyboard, so I don't know how the hell I want to do this. Seriously, I keep tapping it.
No, I can tell you how to do it. Oh, no, because your taskbar is hidden.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'm screwed.
All right, here, we can make this.
Because no keyboard's popping up when I tap it.
Yep. It won't. It doesn't do it automatically in the desktop. There's a keyboard button in the taskbar that you can't see. So swipe in from the side into your settings.
As usual, I have put myself in a dead end position. Control panel,
and then,
keyboard. There's keyboard.
Control panel. Oh, control panel.
Control panel. Okay.
And from there, type. Let's see, taskbar.
I can't type.
Taskbar. Oh, you can't type. That's hilarious. All right. So from there, that's okay.
No, I got it. I'm going to go to some panel and turn on the taskbar. Is it appearance? Change the theme.
Sorry, I've already typed it, so I need to go back and do this again.
Network.
All right. Control
hardware.
panel. It is. That's so funny.
System.
It's appearance.
Yeah.
And personalization.
Appearance and personalization. Yes.
And taskbar navigation.
Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Taskbar properties, or navigation properties.
And auto hide the taskbar, uncheck. Anything else I want to change? Use peek to preview the desktop when you move your mouse to the show desktop button. Taskbar location on bottom. Yeah, none of this.
When they in Windows 7, I think it was, they got rid of control panel from the main Explorer view, right? And so I used to run this little contest when I would speak in front of people. I would say, okay, here's the Windows 7 desktop. What's the quickest way to get to control panel? And like go.
Yeah.
I think the quickest way was to click on Action Center, because that icon is sitting down there. Open Action Center and then click on Control. I think it was like 2 clicks. But
yeah, now that I have my my control panel, all is well.
It helps if you have your task.
My task. Wait a minute, where is it?
Now it's gone. That's hilarious.
I swear to God, I changed it. Okay, I don't want to hijack the show. I really don't.
That's okay. Control panel. You had it. Oh.
No, I know. I closed it because I thought I had it. No, I don't. All right. I know where it is. You go on without me. Really, it's not.
Yeah. Anything else, Paul? You want to say?
Yeah. Anything else?
20? I can show you how it compares to the Surface RT. I have both of my devices here. If I hold them like this,
it's right. And
it feels.
funny.
It's not thinner, but it looks thinner.
Well, you know what? It's not thinner in the middle, but it is thinner on the edges because it's got those kind of tapered.
It's
edges.
also
I
a spec
like that.
shorter, right? The Lumia is a little bit shorter. It has the 10.1 inch screen, and the Surface RT the 10.6, right? So a little.
I like how the color comes to the front too. Like on the Surface 2, it's gray, but it's only on the edges. But
I like that. So you have a little.
Yeah.
And Mary Jo, you chose a desktop to complement the color.
I did.
Yeah. That's because you're a girl.
Exactly.
Actually, I did this.
And Paul, you're a girl too.
Yes, I am. Okay.
Now we know. All right, cool. Cool.
I've been trying it out with the Kindle app here as well quite a bit, because this is okay when you're like, you have to kind of rest it on your leg to read, but it's because the display is 1080p, it's got nice resolution. Although I said in my review, I don't notice a huge difference in the type font between the Surface RT, the original, which is 780p, and this one when you're just reading text.
I notice a difference.
You do?
Oh yeah, but I'm kind of sensitive to that. It looks so clear to me. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Microsoft has clear type.
But the subpixel rendering is better with more pixels, obviously.
I went through this with the 1520. Same thing. You kind of bump up the font, you look at it and see how crisp it is, and it's crisp. But I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not really sure I can tell. The difference.
It could be purely psychological on my part.
I think we're not
a device like the iPad Mini, which is like, I don't know,
I noticed
33,000, whatever. Yeah, that thing is so crisp. Yeah. I mean, there are these occasional screens of text where it's like little. It's so little.
4-point text looks good.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right, I have thank you everybody for your help. I have now logged in, and I am now meeting SkyDrive, which is exciting.
Yeah.
SkyDrive and I haven't met before, and I'm looking forward to that. And you see I have a taskbar. I guess, you know, it didn't. Hello, that's me. How would you like
and this device also switched with like the desktop tile is not there by default, right?
Probably not, and I'll put that back. I know how to do that, yeah. I say that with absolutely foolish confidence, but I swipe up from the middle, I press and hold desktop, and then I pin to start, right? And
so
now I have it. Yeah, here we go.
Nice.
Oh, we should talk about the Nokia apps. So one of the key differentiators here is this kind of handful of Nokia apps.
Right.
And I haven't spent a lot of time with them yet, but, you know, there's the Here Maps app is there. Storyteller, Nokia Music, which is actually in fact, as soon as today is going to change to a different app. And some other stuff. And I actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think that this device has a GPS where the Surface 2 does not. So it's potentially this is a more accurate.
There's no GPS in the Wi-Fi Surface 2. You know, that's typical on an iPad too, because when you put an LTE chip in, it also includes the GPS radio typically.
Okay.
So that would make sense. I mean, you can put GPS in a Wi-Fi only device, but it's typical that it does not.
Right. So except for Nokia Music, I don't believe that Nokia has ported any of their other phone apps to Windows before. And so some of this stuff is new, or most of this stuff is new, I should say. And Mary Jo, have you spent any time with any of these apps?
No,
Anything?
I haven't really, no.
Yeah. The camera app is really bare bones, and it's kind of too bad.
It's not the ProCam, right?
You see Nokia camera, like, oh, it's got that awesome camera app.
It's got a Zeiss lens in it.
The camera's not. The camera's not great.
It's so-so, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this app is also kind of so-so.
Yep.
Kind of grainy looking to me. I mean, in use, but.
Yeah, no, I haven't tried out
That's
the
pretty good.
Storyteller. Storyteller is it like sort of like Flipboard-ish, yeah?
Yep.
Yep. I haven't really tried that out too much.
Yeah, except obviously it's Flipboard for your life.
For your own life. Yeah, your own Flipboard, personal Flipboard.
Yep.
Nokia Video Director, Nokia Camera, Nokia Storyteller. So this doesn't put it on the web. It's just, or does it?
It's a good question, Leo. I hope not.
Where do you call
creating
home?
Stories? Oh, Paul, the stories we could tell about you.
Huh. So I'm going to give it my home address, I guess. All right. I shall continue on without your looking over my shoulder.
Well, I think so. The deal is it relies on what's on the device, as far as I can tell. So what I have on the device is a bunch of screenshots. And so the stories it has created for me are not particularly interesting because they're pictures of benchmark tests.
But it is, in fact, the story of your life that you spent all your time doing that crap. So
I have wasted my life.
Mine would be pictures of beer mugs.
Yeah.
But if you took a lot of pictures with this, does it pull from your SkyDrive? So if you had stuff on SkyDrive, would it?
I would hope so. I'm still waiting. Let me see what this thing does.
We'll see.
So far, what I'm seeing is 3D mark, benchmark stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, this is not good.
Not good.
Yeah.
So I assume you can change that to, I shouldn't assume, but
I don't know.
this is not.
Yeah.
I guess you need to do something before this gets in.
You need to have a life. It's pretty straightforward, yeah. And lacking a life, you're pretty much screwed.
Common sense words from a common sense man.
The story it tells is...
you really need to get out.
Yeah. That is the story.
I don't know what you're doing, but
so
do it somewhere else.
I've set my home. I know where my home is. Finish. Now, it gets better. It says, we're constantly making improvements. Check for updates. Okay. And that goes to the store. So, but can you put you can't put these Here apps on any other device. You have to have a Nokia, right?
Well, that's the question. So they're not in the store yet, at least not to my knowledge.
Storyteller, it did pull me to the store for the update.
But I don't know.
And it said install it because it apparently doesn't know it's installed.
Let me see. So Nokia Music, by the way, has just been updated. So now that thing is called Nokia Mix Radio. So you could actually install that update.
Yeah, let's install that.
But I don't. Let me see. Let me search for
It comes on this, yeah.
So
But I don't want that. I want my Xbox radio, obviously. My Memories Interactive Slideshow. My Nokia installed, Nokia Video Director, Nokia Mix Radio.
I would assume they will appear eventually, but especially since Microsoft is buying this company and would want those apps to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I can install Instagram. That's nice.
Yes.
Came out, right, today?
We'll talk about that later.
Save that. Okay, well, I'm going to mess around. I'm going to mess around now with my little thing. Little Asphalt 8 would be good on there. That's good.
We'll just let Leo play out.
Other thoughts. So it sounds like the conclusion is they're so similar that you should just look at both and the decide based on the little elements like the lack of kickstand or keyboard or the round edge versus a square edge.
If you have somehow arrived at Windows RT, it really
you say that as if that seems unlikely.
I do think it's fairly unlikely, but if you have, these are both really good choices. I mean, they both get killer battery life. I think the Nokia is going to work out to be at least an hour more.
And there's extra battery in the power cover for Nokia too. So you get they say 5 more hours.
Well, Microsoft will be doing that next year. So which may be when the power cover comes up for Nokia too. Frankly,
they both have proprietary power connectors, which I think is a little odd.
That's disappointing, and it doesn't seem like it charges on this USB.
Micro USB would be nice. I like the regular USB port on the Surface too. Frankly, I know it's kind of a PC affectation thing, but I have a lot of content that's on USB 3 hard drives. Just being able to plug that thing in and go with it is such a huge deal. And I really like the keyboard covers, the typing covers that they have for the Surface devices. So it's kind of a tough one. I really prefer the style of the Lumia, but some of these other things.
Having a keyboard kind of seems important.
Yeah,
it is. It is. It's become. It's funny when I first got the Surface, I'm like, I wonder how much I'm going to use the keyboard, and now I don't. I almost don't use it without the keyboard.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
And actually, the keyboard cover, whatever it's called for the Lumia, would solve a lot of problems because it has 2 USB ports in it too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So then you get not just 1 but 2 normal USB ports. I think they're USB 2, but it doesn't really matter. You can plug in like normal devices, which is such a weird thing to worry about, but it's such a great thing to have. Mm-hmm. So I can't make up your mind for you.
No,
but
there you. But now you know now you know the germane issues.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can decide from there.
And the price is roughly similar, right? I mean.
Yeah. That's actually another thing. So the Microsoft tablet has 32 gig and 64 gig versions. It has micro SD expansion for another 64. According to Nokia, this thing only comes in 32 gigs, and the micro SD expansion only goes to 32 gigs. I don't know how that could be true, but that's what they say. So that might be a concern. I'll have to test that. I haven't put an SD card in it yet, but that might be a concern.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry, you were saying about the price.
Yeah, I was saying it's about, I think on Verizon it's around $400 without the cover for the Lumia.
Under a contract.
Under a 2-year contract, right?
Yeah. That's not a great savings, by the way.
It's not. I know, because
this device is $500.
I know. Surface 2 is $450.
Yeah, so if you look at how like cell phones are priced, I mean, this thing subsidized should be $99. It's pretty expensive.
It is.
Is that, unless that plan, maybe that plan is, how long, is it a 2-year plan?
Yep. 2-year plan.
Yeah, that's super expensive.
And then on AT&T, it's, I think, roughly the same price, but they have a deal where if you also buy a Lumia certain Lumia phone with it, it drops the price by another $100, I think, if you buy them both at the same time. Yeah, wow. I know. It's still not a big,
Those 3 guys that were holding out and want both of those devices are going to be psyched. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
so, maybe we'll see some sales as we get closer to the holiday or.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you're buying this at the peak.
Right.
When it's first out. And it seems likely that they could Reduce the price.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm enjoying playing with this. This is pretty cool. So
how does that feel to you, Leo? Snappy?
Yeah, it feels fairly snappy.
Good.
Yeah. It does to me too. I felt like, I don't know, like you were saying, Leo, maybe it's an optical illusion or your mind's tricking you, but I felt like some of the apps that I opened up on the Lumia were opening faster.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
On the
I know.
Surface.
I didn't clock them, but maybe it was just a perception.
Yeah.
I know. The first time you open them, it's
this
very
is a
slow.
bad. Yeah, this is a bad example because this is the first time I've opened the sports app.
Yeah.
But it does look. I just the look is
Looks
so
pretty.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really got it. Yeah, it feels pretty snappy.
Yeah.
These are SkyDrive photos, so. This is the first time I've opened Calendar, but again, fairly snappy. All right, or that was mail. Yeah, that was mail.
So run a Word app. Those are probably usually the slower.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, an Office application.
Yeah. Well, I'd already opened Office once, so this should be pretty quick now. Actually, let's close it out. Oh, well, yeah, there you go. You see?
Yeah.
It's PC speed. It's good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You certainly wouldn't feel like, oh, gosh, I'm sure waiting a long time. This is downloading, so that's what's slow. It feels very snappy.
Surface 2 is similar. I mean,
Yeah.
it's no slouch.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't save that. Let's close that out. Cancel that. I don't want to launch Outlook at this point. Let's go back. Or let's launch Excel. This is the first launch for Excel. Yeah, it feels pretty quick.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to say, wow, I hate waiting for this sluggish device. You're ready to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I would say you're right. It's very comparable to the Surface. The differences are going to be fairly minor. Let's take a break, come back with more. We've got to talk about the 1520 as well. I had that in my hands. And I mean hands, because
I was going to say, you mean hands. Yeah, exactly.
Too big for one hand.
Unless you're a bodybuilder.
Yeah. We'll talk about the new apps that just came out for Windows Phone. But first, this episode of Windows Weekly brought to you by the good folks at IT Pro TV. Huh?
Sorry, my computer started talking.
Oh, sorry. Hey, computer, shut up. We're working. I'm working here. IT Pro TV, itpro.tv/WW for Windows Weekly. It is a place where you can get your certs. Learn without even knowing it. Get it? I'm a big fan of this and the guys who started it because, well, frankly, they're big fans of Twit. They started... they've been teaching for a long time, doing certs for a long time, but they started doing IT Pro TV after seeing me on the Broadcast Minds panel at NAB and visiting our studio. Tim and Don came by and they said, "Hey, I hope you don't mind, but we're copying the screensavers." I said, "Mine, I'm honored." They even do live broadcasts, so you can tune in IT Pro. They have chat going on all the time. Actually, even before you sign up, you could check it out. And doesn't that look like the screen? It looks to me just like the screensavers said, I got to say. itpro.tv/WW. And normally, this would cost $57 a month.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So we got our DHCP pool configured. Got our addresses. We're handing those out. Yep. Now we need our scope options, right?
All the other fun stuff that DHCP.
It is so geeky. You're going to love this. This is everything we couldn't do on the screensavers because it was probably way too geeky. Beautiful set. They're using the TriCaster, the great microphones. They've got the screenshots. This is something you could watch all day, and without knowing it, you'd be ready to get your MCSE or your A+. All the CompTIA certs are there, the Cisco and the Microsoft certs as well. Learn your way to a better job, even if you're already studying with a book or enrolled in a certification program or a technical degree program. This is going to be a great way to just kind of absorb knowledge constantly. The shows are streamed live, but also available on demand. By the way, they work on the Roku, on the computer, the mobile device of all kinds of both high def and standard def. Now, as I was starting to say, it's $57 a month, $570 for an entire year. That's very affordable, but When you use our offer code WW50, you're going to get 50% off your subscription. And that's not just for the first year, but forever, as long as you want to use it. Learn without even knowing it. itpro.tv/WW. Let me log in real quickly here, and I'll show you the list of classes available. You can tour a lot of this without logging in, but it's nice if you get an account. So there's the Comp TIA stuff, the A+, the Net Plus, the Security Plus. MCSA. They don't do MCSE anymore. MCSA, CCENT from Cisco, and they're adding more all the time. They're always adding new classes. Learn. If you're in the live room, you can, just like ours, there's a chat. So you can chat along with Tim and Don and their guests as they teach you things like dynamic host control, configuration protocol. If you're interested in getting these certs and getting a better job, visit itpro.tv/WW. Use the offer code WW50. And I'll tell you what, you're on your way. Thank you, guys. Tim and Don, I'm very flattered by what you're doing, and we're really glad that you're part of our Windows Weekly family. So the 1520 is the phone that they announced, the Nokia announced at the same time as they announced the 2520. It is a 6-incher, and it feels bigger than any phone, even the Note 3. It feels... Do you have that too?
Yeah.
Yep.
And like I said earlier, and I have huge hands. But,
I thought you were holding up the 2520.
No, that's
the phone.
Yeah, I have a hard time holding this, and I mean, I don't have a hard time holding it. I have a hard time using it. It's like, it's so big, it's like silly. It looks like a prop from like a Lily Tomlin movie or something, like where, we're like midget people in the real world or something, and like everything's really big,
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Yeah. But if you want a big phone, and now this is the biggest Windows phone out there, right?
I think this is the biggest phone out there, period.
I don't know of any. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there are tablets, 8-inch tablets that have phone dialing, but they're really.
My wife has a Note 2, and it's probably, I don't know what that is, 5.3, 5.5.
Something like that, yeah.
It's dwarfed by this.
Yeah, I know.
I like
this is like a Humvee.
Now you like it, Mary
I think
Jo.
this thing has carbon emissions.
Well, you don't need to carry a tablet if you've got that. I mean, it really is big enough to do everything you would do with a tablet.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I opened a PowerPoint on this thing, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's crazy. It's I wouldn't call it a mini tablet, but it's right on the border of a mini tablet. And you know what I also liked that is kind of interesting? I in running Twitter on it, it's really great to be able to just, and I think Paul brought this up in his review, it's great to be able to see it without squinting all the time. And I'm getting old, and it's getting harder to see those things,
I don't have one right here, but I coincidentally on Saturday, I had gotten the phone, and I was going into Boston for that Nokia event, and I'm sitting on the train going into Boston, and, like I'm sure you guys do, you kind of look around, you see what technology people are using, and everyone on the train has a phone of some kind, MP3 player, whatever. And really, 75% of the people who had an iPhone were doing this. They were looking at it right up to their face. Like, people with Samsung type phones would have it down by their lap, but people with iPhones were doing like this kind of thing. They were like, using it. It's really interesting. Like, and these are younger people and older. It was, a big range of people. I watched them again on the way home. Same thing. This kind of phone, you could kind of hold it out over here and be like, yep, I can see that. No problem. There is an advantage to that.
Well, I'm nearsighted. And I use these devices, and this is one of the reasons I really like high-res displays in ways that you just described. If it's a high-res display, I can put this big device in front of me, and it's like CinemaScope. Well, not just that. I can watch a movie, and it's like bigger than my big screen.
You can sit there and go like this.
Yeah. And so if the screen resolution's high enough, I use my iPhone and my HTC One like that all the time. I take off my glasses and I can
just go up,
and it's like you're in it. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, I do that thing. My eye doctor's been telling me about this for years, and it finally happened this year. Which is when you go to a restaurant maybe, and you're looking at the menu and you have to do the thing where you're like, what is this?
Right.
Like I can't see it all of a sudden.
Right.
And these screens, I'd say that kind of stuff is fantastic, but There's also like an ungainliness to this for me. I mean, I don't carry a purse, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know if you can see this. I mean, it does fit.
It fits. I tried. It's the first thing I tried. It
But,
does fit.
You know, it's like you know, you
still
feel like
gotta
it's going to
be
drag you
heavy.
down. Like, it's like, you know, and when I put it in my pocket, like I normally put my phone in a front pocket, right? So it's like the effect of you're wearing jeans and you have two poles and you stick them down both of your legs and now try to walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's going across a part of your body that normally bends, and now you can't bend it because this gigantic, you know, thing is in there that's straight. And it, you know, getting out of the car is one of the ones I've really noticed. My car is kind of low, and so I'm sitting there and it's kind of wedged in the corner, and it actually catches on my door jamb. The phone does through my pants. like it's really strange.
It wants to leap out of your pocket.
And I mean, you know, I always thought I would love a device like this. Like I say, I have huge hands. I have bad eyesight. It's perfect. I don't know. This thing is physically,
Aren't you always carrying a bag of some sort, a computer bag or something? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
you know,
go get a MERS, but like you always have a backpack or a bag, don't you? You could just throw it in there.
Yeah, I don't know. If I go out to dinner or something, I don't usually carry a bag.
Yeah.
I would almost have to. I need something. It's like I need a gun holster or something. I mean, does Glock make something that would fit this? Like I don't.
Ooh, a little shoulder holster would be great for that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Are you carrying?
It's
Yes,
just more choice. But what I find interesting is when Windows Phone 7 came out, there was one size device. In fact, there was a certain uniformity in devices, even though back then there were at least 3 different people making them.
Mm-hmm. And at least 3 different people buying them.
But it's nice to see now that a little more variation in choice. And just so for people who want really big phones, you got it. It's a 1520. It's nice. And it is, if you don't want to carry a tablet.
I don't know.
Too big, huh?
Well, the problem is, you know, the only way you can buy this is on contract or at great expense.
Right.
And so this becomes your device. Yep. And so the screen is great for movies and all that kind of stuff, but you'd have to have some kind of power source. You wouldn't want to watch movies on a plane and then get to where you were going and not have enough battery life to make a phone call to or whatever.
Right. That's why it's nice to have 2 devices on a trip. I agree. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It's.
But I imagine, I don't know. I haven't tried it. This gets exceptional battery life. Must be a monster battery in there.
It's been getting pretty good battery life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. When you type in a pin, for example, right? Don't you find those buttons to be comically humongous? Like they're, you know, it's seriously, it's like hitting. It's like a giant play school thing. You're like, dude,
I love that. The on-screen keyboard is so easy to type on this thing.
It is literally as big as my desktop.
Well, and speaking of comically humongous, here's your e-holster. Thank you, Dr. Mom.
There.
You just pop it right in there, and it just.
Oh man.
Are you packing heat? No, that's my Nokia 1520 phone.
Lumia.
It's just a Lumia.
But you know what? Surprisingly, I was very surprised how relatively light this is for how big this is. Because, you know, Nokia is known for making kind of heavy devices, very brick-like, may I say. But this is not. It's heavy. It's, I think, 1.3 pounds. No, not 1.3. It's a half a pound. And it's very well distributed weight-wise. So I don't really think it feels that heavy.
It's no thicker than, well, actually, it's probably even thinner than a lot of the Lumia devices. So it's, the weight distribution is much better. That certainly is the case. Like the 920, the 928 are devices that are very dense. You know, they feel like a lead weight in your hand. They probably do weigh less than this, but somehow by spreading it out over a thinner but bigger space, you know, it kind of works.
Very nice camera also, 20 megapixel camera. I've been really happy with the shots I've been taking. This.
Me too. And my initial reaction, I took some photos and you look at them on the screen, you're like, well, these are okay. Like a lot of times with my 1020, I'll take a picture and think, oh my God, look at that. That's, you know, that's better than real life. It's amazing. And I haven't had that experience yet on this phone, but once I downloaded them to my computer and started comparing them, I was like, these pictures are actually really good. And I would say, you know, this is interesting because it's a lower resolution than the 1020 shots. In fact, it's about half. but the result is a much thinner camera. So you don't have that bulk of the big camera lens. And I think that's going to be appealing to a lot of people. So having this kind of quality in something that doesn't, require that gigantic camera thing is big news. I'd like to see this kind of camera in more devices.
Yeah, 20 megapixels is good.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
You should see my bear pictures. They are something to see.
What bear? What?
Beer.
Oh, beer. Okay.
Not bears. She's not camping, Leo. She's camping out at a local bar.
Now, Lou in the chat room, who works for Microsoft, asks if you know about the 929 at Verizon, which is a 5-inch version of the 1520, and what its ETA is.
By the way, that will have the same camera.
Ooh, now see that.
And that's a 5-inch screen, I think.
Yeah, 5 inches. That sounds intriguing.
Might be the right. I think there's your kind of sweet spot for a phablet.
Yeah.
I'm hearing, though, rumor-wise, not this year.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was imminent. No?
It supposedly was, but I now am hearing no. Which is too bad, because I'm up for a new phone on Verizon, and I think I would.
I get a lot of questions about this. Yep. Of course, Verizon guys see all these phones. They're like, oh, these sound great. AT&T, occasionally T-Mobile. Yeah. There's only been one decent Verizon phone all year from Windows Phone, right? The 928.
Well, I mean,
they're only the #1 wireless carrier in the United States.
They don't do a Nexus 7. They don't do a Nexus 5. I mean, it's just, Verizon dances to the beat of its own flugelhorn. It's not.
But good news from Verizon was Verizon got the Lumia tablet a day ahead of AT&T, so there's hope that
maybe
things are changing.
Yeah,
maybe.
Unfortunately, they also got it ahead of the keyboard, which is kind of a problem. This phone is so big. If you could, Windows Phone doesn't support this, but if it did. If it had the Bluetooth profiles for keyboard, you could use this thing on the road. This would be kind of cool.
That's an intriguing thought.
Yeah.
So now I got all excited, but I can't install Instagram and Waze on my Windows RT
on your
device.
tablet.
No,
they're on
the
phone. They're on the phones.
Okay, but they are available as of today.
Yep.
Instagram, and is there a name? Because there's 50 Instagram apps, unofficial.
The nice thing is, if you search for Instagram in the Windows Phone Store, you will see several non-official apps first.
Yeah,
so you get that little bit of fun.
So how do you find? What do you suggest?
Maybe look for Instagram beta.
They
call it beta. Okay, that's good to know. All right.
Try looking for that.
Instagram.
See, the worst part about this Instagram thing for me is that now that this has happened, I might actually have to try it.
No, you won't. Don't worry. It's not.
So actually, it's only the second one. It's funny. The top result is 6tag, which was one of the top third-party Instagram apps.
Yeah.
So Instagram beta, it has a very Windows Phone-like tile, monochromatic tiles, just blue and white. Unlike the skeuomorphic Polaroid camera on
it's
every
nice
other
because
device.
if you have a Lumia 1020, you can use this app to make it look like you took a picture from an iPhone.
No one will ever know.
No one will ever know.
Also, and this is good news because Google owns it, Waze.
Yeah. Is there a story about how that happened? How did Waze get on Windows Phone?
I know.
You know?
Well, it was funny. Yesterday, Joe Belfiore tweeted, it would be really cool if the press knew how all these apps ended up on this phone.
But
I'm like, tell us.
Yeah, it would be.
But we're not going to tell you. Yeah. So what is the presumption that Microsoft paid Google? No. I think, the thing about Waze, even though it's a Google app, I think they're fairly autonomous. And what's really important to them is to collect crowd data, right? I mean, it's a crowd-based mapping service. And I think that the more the merrier. I mean, the more users, the better the data is. So why not get Windows Phone on here? It's not exactly the most sophisticated UI ever, frankly.
Well, obviously, something like Waze needs to be integrated into something like Google Maps, right?
It is. It already is being, well, not 100%.
Well, because on Windows Phone, it's not.
But you're starting to see in Google Maps, you're starting to see things like you don't have a reporting ability yet, but you're definitely seeing information from Waze, traffic information.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you
Sorry,
say from Waze.
I use the Nokia Maps. We have no notion at all of traffic, let alone real time.
Yeah, traffic. What's you're talking about?
So, yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
But,
Brad Bamford in the chat room says Microsoft was an investor in Waze before Google bought them, so that might explain it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that might explain it. Wait, by the way, Waze, an Israeli company, as was PrimeSense, the company that created the first Connect. Apple just bought them.
Is that official?
No, it's from Calculist again, and I think that nobody's confirmed it yet.
Okay.
But let's assume it's true, because it's being reported by some pretty serious folk.
Yeah. I'm just surprised Microsoft let that happen.
Yeah, although the new
they
Connect has nothing to do with it, right? It's
Right,
it's
that's
it's the ground up.
Yeah. So they already stopped using PrimeSense after the first Connect.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Nokia Mix Radio, which we just talked about, is also now on Windows Phone as well as the tablets. Is it better than Xbox Radio? Xbox?
Well, it's different. So it's really hard to keep track of all this stuff, but there are many, many music services, as you know. Some of them are free and have ads. Some of them you pay a little bit extra, have no ads, etc. This sits, I would say, in some kind of a happy middle ground between, say, Pandora and Xbox Music Pass, right, which is very expensive but has lots of features. It's sort of like, it's, as its name suggests, sort of a radio type, playlist type thing. It's a little more sophisticated than the Microsoft stuff, actually, in that they give you the ability to seed stations with up to 3 artists instead of just one. And it's got a nice, new tile interface. It's kind of new to this one. They changed the name, I think, for the pending sale, because obviously the previous one was called Music. Microsoft has something called Xbox Music, and that would have been confusing. So, I've always
it's
really
good
liked
too because it emphasizes that it's a radio mix, that it's not a music store, or you can't say play this album. You can, it's like Pandora. Right. It's really pretty much like Pandora.
It will play if you have music on your phone. It will play that stuff too.
Oh, it will. Okay,
really,
so it's
sort of a Pandora Plus type of thing.
Got it.
It is out today on Windows 8 as well, but the deal with the Windows Phone version, because I actually pay for it, it's $3.99 a month. But
sorry,
I think it's okay. I think on Windows Phone, if you have a Lumia device, it's you get some free.
Sorry. Turn that down. What are you saying? I just launched the Asphalt 8 Airborne. It's good.
We're getting a couple people on Twitter saying that Nokia Drive does have real-time traffic.
Okay.
Liars.
Not here, Drive. Okay.
Well, Nokia, it's Here Drive. I think it's the
Here Drive.
Here Drive?
As opposed to Here Maps. It has traffic?
Yeah, real time. Although one of our listeners is saying maybe it's only in Europe.
Yeah, that doesn't
true?
happen. I'm sorry. That's not the case.
He's in the Netherlands. This guy's in the Netherlands.
Trust me, it does not happen. Not where I live.
Not where I live, buddy boy.
We go through this thing in the car because my wife has an Android phone and I have a Windows phone, and I like the Windows Phone stuff by and large, and I like the presentation of the Here stuff, but man, it is worthless for traffic. And Google's interesting because Google is always, we think of it as being about 15 minutes behind. And so if you see an orange area on the map heading into Boston, you know that by the time you get there, it's going to be bright red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the worst one of all, which you've seen, which is red and black. Have you ever experienced this? Mm-hmm. I believe this means you're actually going backwards. It's like the reverse of progress. It's and this actually happens sometimes.
So somebody in Colorado in our chat room says Drive has traffic, and for him.
Okay, it's worthless then, because it just doesn't. It's worthless.
Boston traffic is the worst ever.
Boston traffic needs its own map.
Right. We need the special Boston voice as well.
You do.
Boston.
I had this. I ran into this guy I went to high school with over the weekend, and we were talking about whatever. And he said, at one point, Paul, there are winners and losers. Winners and losers.
And you
and I was just like, yep. Could have said it better myself.
Yeah, winners and losers.
Winners and losers.
Winners and losers. And Xbox One Smart Glass, just in time for the Xbox One, we can put the Smart Glass app. And this is, I was, one of the reasons I was going to get a 2520 is just so I could use it with my Xbox One, but it turns out I don't have to.
You can get this on everything. The Smart Glass for 360 and now for the Xbox One is on. It's on Windows. It's on phone. It's on iOS.
Everywhere.
It's on Android.
Yeah,
it's everywhere. And so they're being really agnostic about that stuff, which I think is pretty cool. So, yeah, if you're expecting an Xbox One tomorrow, or going to go get one or whatever, you can pre-install this now and get ready for it. It doesn't do a lot, without the Xbox One, but
right.
But it is there.
It is there. And I'm a little disheartened to hear that Microsoft is going to delay the live game broadcast feature in Xbox One. That was something they demoed.
Yeah.
And this is to Twitch.
Twitch, yeah. This is like the final insult, I think, in the long list of stuff Microsoft promised that backpedaled on.
PS4 has this.
I know. So
right now you can
PS4
upload it to
version of Twitch
SkyDrive or something, right?
Well, yeah, sort of. It's the point of Twitch, as I understand it, is that you can watch recorded but also live games, and it's kind of interesting. I was playing with it on the PlayStation. My son had explained it to me because I didn't quite see the value of it, but as you might expect of a teenager who loves playing video games, he actually spends a lot of time on this service watching games.
Yeah,
and you get tips about how to play, and
it's just entertaining.
New levels, and yeah, I guess I wouldn't do it, but
no, it is. Yeah.
So, yeah, they're going to have it on the Xbox One now eventually, sometime early next year, I guess. But what they allow you to do is record, I think it's very limited videos that you can save to SkyDrive, and then you can share them from there. Obviously, it's not live, and so this is sort of an after the fact kind of thing. So you've triggered a little bit of recording. I know there's some voice stuff in Xbox One. There are commands you can say that will record just the past 30 minutes. So when 30 seconds, so that when something awesome happens in a game, you can say, "Oh, record that," and it will go back, so you get whatever the awesome thing was. Yeah, so it's something, but I think the deal here is not so much this is something I wish I had and it's not there, because I really don't care about this personally. It's more like Microsoft has spent much of this year backpedaling from everything it's promised on the Xbox One, and this is like the 17th one in a row where it's like, guys, come on, seriously. So I think given the timing, this will probably be our last disappointment until Xbox Live melts down tomorrow and stops working for everybody. Which, by the way, happened for the PlayStation Network last weekend. That was terrible. But yeah, so it's just disappointing on that level. Have I lost Mary Jo?
Yeah.
No, she's here. No, she's sleeping, but she's here. She's actually chewing on the whiteboard eraser now. And
I was like,
yeah.
It's not a cyanide capsule. Put that down.
Hey, Joe, I think you'd enjoy Twitch.tv. It's teenagers.
Yes.
yeah, I think I would love
playing
it.
games and it's so much
be all
fun.
into
Yeah,
that.
I think you'd really get off on this. It's so much.
I don't know. To me, it's like
Chugger damage done. He's down at 992, but looking behind him, you can see rest in peace fairly low as well. So these guys need to make this execution count. Rest in peace looks like he could fall down here. He's on one
like a soccer match.
Get involved in this battle to
yeah, it's just as exciting too.
There's the first kill coming in, and that's exactly what Spale needed. Can they hold Denova at the gates right here? Ron and Wild.
Goal! All right. That's actually pretty exciting. No,
is it?
I like it.
I mean, a lot of that was obviously kind of a semi. I don't want to call it.
It's a pro league. No, it is a pro league.
Okay.
World of Tanks Pro League. Yeah.
Well, in other words, the announcer was clearly like an announcer.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was
most of these
12,
games-
but he. Yeah.
Okay, but it sounded like you're watching a sporting event.
You are. This is the World of
most of
Tank Pro
these-
League. These are pros. These are not amateur tank drivers.
So the only reason I watched this one time, and not this particular game, but before Ghost came out, there was Mashima or somebody had been streaming live multiplayer games, and it was a chance to go and see it
Right.
before you could get it, and so that was actually kind of interesting.
But I think some of it is really pure entertainment. It's not. It's not learning how to use it. It's
better
just,
than Duck Hunters. That's all I'm saying.
It's just fun.
Better than Pawn Stars and any cooking show.
Hey,
It's
I
better
like
than
cooking shows.
almost any singing show.
That's one reason I would get a TV, cooking shows.
Cooking shows?
That's because you don't have a TV. You don't really.
To me, like these things are all like it's like fake stress. It's like you have 3 ingredients, make something
not those
happen.
Kind. Not
No,
those
no,
kind of
no.
cooking shows.
She likes Paula Deen. Now, here's what you do. You take 2 pounds of butter.
Paula Deen lost me when she went to Paris, and she was standing on the streets of Paris saying, "Doesn't anybody here speak English?"
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
But that's really her posturing for her audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
The Bing-ification of apps.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about this. It was a session I went to in New York recently at a Business Insider conference. And, they do these lightning round sessions. So one of the presenters was from Microsoft at that conference. His name is James Whitaker, and he's one of the distinguished engineers at Microsoft. So he actually, in 20 minutes, made me understand what Microsoft's thinking about doing with Bing in apps. And it's kind of an interesting or maybe scary future, depending on what you think of Bing. He showed a version of Outlook. I think he showed in his email app, he showed you would be able to go inside your email. Say somebody sends you an invitation to go hear a group at a certain venue and you don't know anything about them. And instead of having to go out to your browser and search or call up a search engine and search, you would just see a little squiggly line under the name of the band or under the name of the venue. And if you clicked on that, Bing would bring up an entity card and give you all the information about those things right inside your email.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of awesome. And I was like, oh, wow, this must be like a million years away. And he said he actually already has developed an add-in for this, like an API add-in with a handful of interns he worked with, and it can be done. This already can be done. He also showed a calendar one, too, that was really cool. It's like, when you're planning a vacation and you want to research flights and see what dates flights would work with your schedule and all that. He showed you pull up your calendar, and right inside your calendar, all this information starts populating because of the entity cards that are in your calendar. So I was kind of like, wow, so this is what all this machine learning and all this back-end stuff that they're doing with Bing is actually how it's actually going to influence apps, like things that we use every day and not something just, in the big data sense, but actually things that normal people would use because they have Bing technologies integrated in through the back end. So I just thought that was really interesting and very telling about what we might see in a version of Office in the not too distant future.
It's kind of ironic given that Microsoft is selling mugs with the Chrome logo saying, "Keep calm and we'll steal your data." But okay. Okay, whatever.
And guess who loves that? I already know what I'm getting him for Christmas.
Oh, Paul, you want a scroogled t-shirt?
That's my tip of the week.
No, sorry. I got to read ahead. Sorry. I've heard that the mug is already sold out.
They are.
I just want one. Anyway, I'll save it for your tip. You could talk about it in a second. But this goes back, this Bing-ification of apps goes back to what we were talking about last week, why it's impossible that Stephen Elop might be planning to sell Bing.
Yeah.
It's too tightly woven into the very fabric of Microsoft's future.
It is indeed.
You don't want to pull on that string. Your whole sweater will fall apart. So, yeah. Hey, now that it seems like the inside track is on Alan Mullally in some sort of caretaker mode.
I don't think we know.
We just don't know. That's all.
Like
this
a
is all
hospice
rumors.
worker kind of thing.
Yeah,
what are we talking?
Yeah.
I'm
here to guide you into the other world.
Right.
Just listen to
the latest CEO rumor this week, courtesy of All Things D, was that Mullally gets the nod, but only for a short time.
Yeah, brief.
Right, and then he's like
they want someone for a short time.
Right, helping guide the company while the other potential candidates like Satya Nadella or Stephen Elop or Tony Bates mature.
The inside guys.
Right.
You could make the case that that's exactly what Google did with Eric Schmidt. It was a long time. It was 10 years. Larry Page and Sergey Brin said we need adult supervision. They brought in somebody with CEO experience to run the company until Larry felt ready to do it. Mm-hmm. And there may be a model there for that.
Maybe.
We know Alan is too old. He's 67. He's too old to do this for long. He's not going to get 10 years. But
Yeah.
So, but I don't think that's an unreasonable point of view. If you could see, that's the thing. Alan would be great. He would be really great for Microsoft. I think he'd kick some butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're not going to get Alan for a long time. He's preparing.
There's a lot of stuff that happens at Microsoft that's just taken for granted. People have stopped questioning things.
But that's why you want to go.
He would come in and he would look at this and he would say, "What is it? Why are we doing this?"
Right.
And I do think they need that voice. Someone who could do.
And he's an engineer, and so that's the kind of, data-driven thinking that they probably need to cut through this morass. But Alan's too old to do it for very long. And I know he was planning his retirement from Ford a year ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think retirement from Ford meant to go run some other company. I think it meant, sitting back with the grandkids.
Sailing a ship.
Yeah, in Lake Michigan and put his feet up. So this would be, you'd entice him with a lot of money, and more importantly, because a guy like Mullally isn't there in it for the money at this point, more importantly, the chance to turn around a major American industrial giant, which is what Ford said to him when they came to him at Boeing and said, Ford is floundering. It is an American institution, and you can save it. He did.
Yeah.
And I could see the board.
I don't really feel like Microsoft's floundering, though.
I could see the board coming to him and saying, look, we need somebody. We don't need you for long. We've got great internal candidates.
It's almost like having someone come in and clean up your finances and then move along. It's like
exactly. And that's what I did here, and now she's running the company still. So but one of these days, I'm going to grow up enough to run my own company.
No, you're not.
No,
it's never going to happen.
The other part of the All Things D rumor that we should point out, besides saying Kara Swisher's report, she says she thinks it's Mullally in the short term, but then she throws in this thing saying, or maybe somebody who's not even on the list that we know of from a telco company.
Nice.
Nobody in a telco position is somebody.
That's what we need. We need that guy from AT&T to run.
None of these. Dan Hesse? No, none of these guys. No.
Yeah, it was a little frightening.
Oh, God.
None of them are doing a good job. Name one telco that's well run.
Jeez.
Carlos Slim. Let's bring in Carlos Slim from Mobile in Mexico. Or let's bring in Son from NT Docomo in Japan.
Right.
There's nobody. No else. Who else?
The CEO from Acer is looking for a job.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, what about those two guys who ran BlackBerry? Wouldn't
bring those
those guys in?
What would they do with a lot of money to spend?
Apparently, actually, the guy they brought in is being
Thorsten Heinz.
Thorsten Heinz is being
actually. So we don't know a lot about that guy. He may actually not be a bad choice. I mean, I think he was given a raw deal.
No. I think BlackBerry brought him in for a very specific purpose, as often happens with a CEO.
Yeah.
Probably to package for sale. Mm-hmm. You often bring in a specialist, and you say you got 3 years to sell the company.
Yeah.
He always reminded me of the guy from Sprockets. That SNL skit.
Now is the time when we collapse.
Now is the time when we sell the company. Yeah.
Paul Thurrott's tip of the week, our enterprise pick of the week. Some code names and some beer coming up. A beer you Canadians will like. But first, a word from Stamps.com. Everybody, maybe it's just me. I like the post office. I really do like the post office. I don't like hanging out at the post office. I don't like going to the post office. But I love it when that guy or gal with the shorts and the pith helmet and the big leather bag comes to my door and they give me stuff or they take stuff. That's great. Post office got that down. Monday through Saturday. Boom. Like clockwork. Why don't you take the best parts of the post office? The free pickup, the free delivery. Well, no, it's not free, but the free pickup and the somewhat inexpensive delivery. And do the rest of it at your desk. That's what Stamps.com does. Let the post office do what it does best. But you can print your own U.S. postage. I got stamps here. I should show you that. But it's just so cool. You can print right on an envelope if you want. But, these are actual stamps from Stamps.com. This is what I use when I want to mail a little thank you letter or whatever. You can have your logo on it. You can have you print the logo on the envelope, the return address automatically. You can pull no typing, pull the address. Let's say, here's a good example. You're an Etsy seller. And you just sold a beautiful hand-knit golf cozy to somebody in Germany. Now you got it. Now what do you got to do? You got to package it up. You got to figure out. You take it to the post office, right? And then you got to do the international forms. You got to write the address. No, Stamps.com. You've got all the information's on the screen from the sale. Push a button. Stamps.com automatically takes the sender's address, the sender's information, your return address, prints out a label. You've got the USB scale, so you've got exactly the right postage on it. It sends an email out to the recipient saying it's on the way. It even fills out the customs forms, the international forms. Automatically. You pushed one button. And then there's one more button you might want to push. The mail carrier's coming, right? Or maybe you missed the mail delivery today. There's a button that says, pick it up. You press that button on Stamps.com. They come and they get it. I just love Stamps.com. Holidays are here. This is not the time you want to go to the post office. This is amateur hour. If you're a professional mailer, if you do this as part of your business, you want Stamps.com. You don't need any special ink. You don't need a postage meter. And right now, if you go to Stamps.com, you'll see we've got a very special no-risk trial offer for you. With the offer code WINDOWS, you're going to get a $110 bonus offer. Now, go to Stamps.com, click the microphone in the top right corner of the page, and enter in the offer code WINDOWS. You're going to get $55 in free postage coupons to be used over the first few months of your account. You'll get that USB scale I was mentioning. You just pay shipping and handling on that, but you get to keep it. You get a $5 supply kit, 4-week trial of Stamps.com. Stamps.com. Use the offer code WINDOWS, and your life will change. I'm not kidding. You're crazy. By the way, discounts you can't get at the post office. Stamps does stuff you can't do at the post office at all. Stamps.com. Paul Thurrott, time for your pick of the week.
I just spent that entire ad looking for traffic on Nokia Drive Plus.
No traffic.
People have showed it to me. I can't.
You know what? You don't need traffic in Boston. You just need your middle finger.
That's right.
And
so true.
And powerful lungs.
And a liberal use of the language.
And a liberal use of the language. So okay. I stole your tip. I didn't look ahead, but I love this. And you're saying the mug is first of all,
someone told me it was sold out. Yeah.
I just want this logo. It's the scroogled page at the MicrosoftStore.com. I just love this spider with a chrome. It's like a Black Widow with chrome.
It's like welcome to my web.
Swindled.
Look
squeezed,
at all those great words in the background.
Hornswoggled, duped,
hornswoggled,
gulled, hoodwinked, defrauded, double-crossed, fooled, scammed. Wow.
Some people don't like
strong words.
This stuff.
Strong language.
I think this is really fun.
I'm going to get the Google hat. What does it say? Scroogled? Yeah. Yeah. Only $14.99. Free shipping, free returns. How many people are going to get this for Christmas, huh?
Paul Thurrott's getting it from me.
I love this.
He loves this stuff.
I love the step into the web. So is there a short link to this, or you just have to go to MicrosoftStore.com and look for Scroogled?
I think it's Microsoft's. No, this is the short. I think it's MicrosoftStore.com/Scroogled.
No, well, that's easy. Look at the hoodie.
Do I have like a long URL? Let me see. What does it say?
It's American Apparel. It's a good price, too. I think Microsoft's basically giving these away at cost. But you say the mug is gone, because that would be a great mug for me to have.
They'll get more, no doubt.
Out of stock. Keep calm while we steal your data. And then the back, it says, don't get scroogled. Scroogled.
That's what I need, like a scroogled ringtone.
You do.
Scroogled.
You know?
Maybe it could be Mark Penn cackling.
That Mark Penn thing was the best at the Surface 2 launch. I was so excited. He was sitting right next to us. And Mary Jo finally convinced me to go over and say hi to him. And I turned around and he was gone.
He saw that we recognized him.
He's not a small man.
No.
So either he is literally magic or there was a trap door in the floor. I don't know.
Was there a puff of smoke of any kind?
There was a smell of smoke. Like kind of an egg smell and a
brimstone.
Yeah.
So really, though, come on. You think Chrome is in some way more intrusive than Internet Explorer?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
I'm just checking. It's just funny.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people will wear it to Google.
Probably not many.
Yeah.
But I bet you'll see a lot of them in the Redmond area.
Yeah. By the way, somebody says the Hillary Clinton Mark Penn, this toe sucker? Yeah. Same guy.
That guy.
Toe sucker. He left.
He is evil incarnate. I just love his purity of purpose.
He left the campaign in somewhat of a disgrace because he was her pollster, and she wasn't doing very well.
Right.
And then maybe I'm wrong about the toe sucking. I think that was another guy.
Is this Rex Ryan you're thinking of?
No, it was another pollster and strategist. I can't remember his name. Equally scary guy. So what does he do at Microsoft? He's a strategist?
Yeah, he runs all the Google Compete stuff, among other things.
So the scroogled thing is probably his.
That's all his.
It is his, yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
Well, now I understand. He's taking political negative campaigning to technology.
Yep.
I like it.
I like it. I like it.
I got to get Paul a Mark Penn autographed hat or something.
Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be funny? No, it was Dick Morris. That's who did the toe sucker.
Oh, Dick Morris.
Dick
okay.
Morris. Interesting, because when you search for toe sucker,
when you Bing that.
Why not? Leo, this is going to be part of your Google profile for the rest of your life. So here.
oh, I'm going to get Google Now cards.
Yeah.
You were looking for toe sucking, so just in case,
Yeah.
there's a new toe sucking app.
Oh, good Lord.
Software pick of the week, Mr. T.
So I actually have two, but the first one is Office Remote, which is right now just a research project, but it's a way to bring kind of an Xbox Smart Glass type experience to productivity. And so they're starting with some obvious Office scenarios, but the most obvious of which, of course, is a remote presenter. And so you have a phone, especially something like a 1520, where it's basically a computer anyway, and you're using it as kind of a fancy remote. And it does all the stuff you would expect. It shows you notes. It's got thumbnails of your slides. You can flick between them. You can arbitrarily jump ahead to different slides and all that kind of stuff. But it also works with Word and Excel, which is kind of cool. And so they threw some stuff in there. They wanted to see how people would enjoy working with that kind of stuff. It also has a feature I've not actually seen in a remote app before, although maybe it does exist. I just thought this was kind of neat, where you can tap and hold on the screen on your phone, and it puts a virtual laser pointer up on the presentation screen.
Oh, neat.
And so you can kind of move your finger around, and it's like a red light on the screen.
Oh, that's neat.
So it's kind of cool. But what they're really trying to do with this is get feedback from people, because they want to see first what they think of this and where they might want it to go and where else it could go. And they have plans for this kind of app to appear on different platforms, including non-Microsoft platforms, and to go beyond Office as well, potentially into Windows or whatever. And so they're kind of throwing it out there. They want to see what people think. I mean, obviously, if you're a fan of like a presentation remote type app, it does that stuff, but it does some other stuff, and they want to kind of see, where the world takes it. So kind of a neat little thing. It requires a Bluetooth-based computer. I can't use it with my desktop, not that I would, but you have to use it with a Bluetooth-based portable computer. Your phone has to have Bluetooth. It has to be Windows Phone 8. The version of Office you're running right now has to be 2013, and it can't be on Windows RT. It has to be on x86 because it's an add-in, which is not supported on RT. So, it's early days. They're just kind of throwing it out there. So it's kind of a neat thing. If you're into this kind of stuff, definitely check that one out. And then the second one was just released today, but Microsoft released a new version of the SkyDrive app for iOS, meaning iPhone, iPod Touch, and iPad. And it adds that feature that we've had in Windows Phone since roughly the beginning, which is that it will back up the photos you take with a camera on the device and the videos to SkyDrive.
We were talking about that. That's great.
Yeah. And this is really neat because I have lots of devices. So all of my Windows phones do this already. And Windows devices do this too, by the way. So the Surface device, the Lumia device you just got will do this. Although I find photo backup from a computer to be a little less enticing for obvious reasons. But it's really cool if you go into SkyDrive, your camera roll is like this aggregation of all of the camera-based devices you have. And so if you go on a trip or you're out in the world, it doesn't matter which device you bring anymore. All those photos will be backed up. And so presumably an Android version is coming soon as well. And there are other things going on with this app. It's got the iOS 7 look and feel and all that stuff. But the big thing is, from an iOS device, now you can back up to SkyDrive too. So if you use SkyDrive like I do, it's a pretty cool thing.
Neat.
Yeah.
Neat. Mary Jo Foley has an enterprise pick of the week for us.
I do. And it's an honor of
Wait.
Xbox.
You don't get to talk about Xbox. That's not fair.
Hey, what?
Yep, my enterprise pick of the week is Hyper-V. I mentioned earlier in the show, Hyper-V is Microsoft's hypervisor, obviously, and it's key to the Xbox One operating system. It's what allows you to switch quickly back and forth between apps and games. And the way they built the Xbox One operating system, or I should say how Dave Cutler and his guys built it, was that underneath is the hypervisor, and that runs these two partitions that you have in virtual machines. So I just decided to make it the pick of the week because we're up to the Xbox One launch now. And you have to remember, Hyper-V has a place in the heart of the Xbox One. So that's my pick of the week.
Awesome. Hypervisor. How do we access that in the Xbox One?
I don't think you are supposed to access that.
So are they going to use that someday to do, I don't know, simulate an Xbox 360 perhaps?
People were speculating around that. I don't know if that'll ever come to pass, but we'll see. Yeah.
And you have a Microsoft blast from the past.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to look at your notes.
Okay. So I usually do code name or rumor of the week, but this one was really interesting. I was listening to a webcast today that Julie Larson Green was doing. She's the head of the devices division now at Microsoft. And she said, she asked the audience, do you know what Microsoft's very first hardware product was? Anybody in the chat room?
I think it was a card for an Apple II computer that put a piece. What did it put on there?
You're right. You're close.
You are really close.
What did it put on, though?
I think it put a x86 on there, didn't it?
Yeah, but what was the point of it? What would you run on that?
DOS?
You're thinking right. You're thinking right.
It was a basic card.
No,
it was called Microsoft Soft Card.
Soft Card. I remember this, yeah.
And it allowed you to have the CP/M operating system on an Apple II.
It was a Z80, not an x86.
Z80.
It was a Z80.
Yep. And Microsoft came out with it
for so long.
I remember this, yeah.
Yep.
How much was it? Do you know?
I don't know. I do not know.
Huh.
But yeah, it was funny because so many people think, oh, was it a keyboard? Was it a mouse?
And those were early products.
Yep.
The earliest I remember was an Apple II card.
You're good, Leo. You were correct.
Oh, see, I didn't look at your notes because I saw the question and I didn't want to see what the answer was. That's good.
Yep.
And this is a website called Apple II Info?
It's a page that
it's like a wiki.
is all about the card. It's all about soft card.
The whole thing is soft card.
Yeah,
wow.
It is.
Look at that. And there's the old
Everything
Microsoft logo.
Yeah, look at that thing.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Yep. Pretty cool.
Those Pram chips.
The Z80s right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, right? They were probably EEPROMs.
EEPROM.
Yep.
Or maybe EEPROMs, electrically erasable EEPROMs, programmable read-only memory. Wow. And then the rest were probably memory chips. And there probably was 64K at most, maybe 48K memory. Yeah. Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
you know,
things.
like most old people, I don't remember anything that happened in the last 3 weeks. But take me back 40 years, I'm there, baby.
Right. Thursday.
I was like as just like yesterday.
Nice.
The Commodore 128 shipped with a CP/M mode.
Emulator?
Oh, it did? Wow.
Did it?
Yeah, you could switch into it.
Very cool.
I remember pip. There was no copy command. You had to use pip.
Pip was copy.
I remember that. I used CP/M.
You
That was
did?
the first
Yeah, I
one
did
I
too.
ever used.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what were you doing at the time? Were you a student?
Yeah, no, I was. I was. I was an intern, and I was entering copy from a magazine into the CP/M operating system for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
What magazine?
Crazy. It was Electronic Business back in the day.
So you really you have a long lineage in this business.
I do. Yep.
Interesting. That's
My
neat.
first boss was Eric Lundquist, who I know you know
yeah,
well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I wish I could go back to 1979 and do it all over again. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Those were very heady days, I got to say.
Yep, indeed.
Let's see. But now, speaking of head, it's time for some beer.
Nice segue there. I like that.
He is the master.
Yeah. So since I had all those red devices this week, I had, the Lumia tablet, I had the red phone. I said, let me pick a red beer for the beer pick of the week. So I went with the Anchor Big Leaf Maple Autumn Red.
Anchor
which is
does a
red
lot
ale.
of red ales.
They do. And this one has maple syrup in it, which is pretty cool.
The Anchor is a San Francisco, one of the early San Francisco craft brewers.
Indeed, they were. And I had a taste of this recently. It was very good. It had caramel malts, typical red, very caramely. Had some good hops in it too, but not overly hoppy. So even Paul Thurrott would like it. So that's my beer pick, just because I wanted to pick something red.
Actually, I was thinking of you the other night. Someone was trying to explain to me that because I liked wines that have lots of tannins in them, that I should like beers that have lots of hops in them, because these things are somehow similar.
Tannins are to wine as beer.
And I
as
stopped
hops
short
are
of
to
slapping
beer.
this person in the face, but I did tell them under no uncertain terms.
Oh.
That's not good.
Not related.
Not so much.
It's the thing that tastes bad in wine or beer. Hops or tannin. Okay.
I love hops, but
Tannin makes you go.
it does.
Yeah, I like tannins. I don't like hops. Yeah.
Tannin is acidic. Hops are bitter, says Eric Duckman. So there is a difference. Mary Jo,
I would say the difference is tannins are good, and
Come
hops
on, man.
Mary Jo Foley is at allaboutmicrosoft.com. That's the ZDNet blog where she covers Microsoft day in, day out. And I'm sure someday we'll write about where she is right now, but we won't be today.
Correct.
Yes. Paul Thurrott is at the super site for Windows, winsupersite.com. You can catch him there. Or he has now a couple of books in the works, the Windows Phone Book at windowsphonebook.com. And what's the other one? What's the website?
Windows81book.com.
Windows81book.com. Both places you can go and read for free and participate in the improvement of the product. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We do Windows Weekly every, Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC on twit.tv. We are moving. I don't even know where we're moving, but January, what day are we moving to?
I think it's after the beginning of the year, whatever the first show is, I think.
Yeah. And
Wednesday, right?
it's going to go from Thursday to Wednesday.
We take
still
time
11.
off or something, or how does the holidays work here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing Windows Weekly next week, right? Because of Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, there'll be no show.
Oh, come on, guys. Seriously?
All right, I know you want
I'm going to come in,
but-
Paul, and you and I are just going to talk about the Xbox One. In fact, maybe I won't even come in. Maybe I'll just do it from my living room.
I'll use Twitch. No, I can't
I'll
do that.
Twitch it in. Okay. Are you ready? Okay, we're going to go into this dungeon now. I want you to...
You completely misunderstand the type of games I play.
I want you to tank and go on in there, and then I'm going to work up some spells, and it'll be so much fun.
No, basically, the game that I'm playing involves surprising someone from behind and stabbing them in the neck.
I knew you were that kind of guy.
It's a completely different kind of experience.
Especially.
Sounds like South Park.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, isn't it?
Yep.
No show next week. We will be back. Then, of course, Christmas week, we always do a best of. And if you'd like to help us find the best moments from this show in the last year, you can go to twit.tv/best of. We do ask for crazy stuff like time code, but you don't need to know that. If whatever you can give us will help. But
time code would be helpful.
It would be helpful, but please don't feel obligated. I see that and I go, that's going to scare people off. Just, you go, that time when Paul did that thing, remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
Even that's better than nothing. We also have a survey if you want to participate. Help us understand you and also help us, I'll be frank, scroogle you. We're going to sell you to advertisers just like that. Boom, boom, boom. No personal information will ever be
I think I have an idea for a T-shirt.
Yeah.
We're watching you. No, what we do is we in aggregate say things like our audience is this, 23% male, 38% female, and 57% unknown, and things like that. We like to tell the advertisers things like that. It makes them happy. So anything you can do to help us would be great. Twit.tv/survey. If you've already taken it, thank you. Thank you, Paul Thurrott. Thank you, Mary Jo. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you 2 weeks from now on Windows Weekly.